The lobby lights buzzed overhead, casting a pale, restless glow across the marble floor. Marcus Lane stood by the revolving doors, badge clipped to his belt, scanning the evening crowd leaving the corporate tower. He felt the shift in atmosphere before he saw it, the hard echo of boots, the clipped voices of officers entering as if they owned the place. Officer Trent Holloway stepped forward, smirking as his eyes flicked over Marcus's dark skin. His uniform, his posture. "Just security," he muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Step aside. We're handling a real situation." Heat surged through Marcus's chest, but he forced his shoulders steady. "Sir, there's no situation here. This is private property. You'll need authorization." Holloway jabbed a finger into Marcus's chest, pushing him back a step. His breath smelled of arrogance and entitlement. "Authorization? From who?" "You." He laughed, sharp and dismissive. "Don't pretend you're anything more than a hallway decoration." A few bystanders slowed to watch. Marcus felt something coil inside him. Anger, humiliation, an old familiar ache. His throat tightened, but his voice came out calm. "I know my job. And I know my rights." Holloway's eyes narrowed. "Here's your right," he said softly, dangerously. "Your right is to move when I tell you to." Marcus barely had time to process the threat before Holloway's hand dropped to his holster, not drawing but hovering. A warning. Claim. And in that frozen moment, with light buzzing above and breath locked in his chest, Marcus realized something chilling. Holloway wasn't here for justice. He was here to make someone small. The hand on the holster tightened. The lobby of Vantage Point Tower always carried a soft evening hum. Heels clicking across polished floors, elevators sighing open, the low murmur of exhausted workers heading home. Marcus Lane stood near the security desk, scanning his tablet, marking off the final rounds of the shift. The badge on his belt glinted beneath the lights, but tonight it felt inexplicably heavier. "Marcus, you good?" Jamal, another guard, asked as he clocked out. "Yeah," Marcus replied. "Just wrapping up." But something in the air bothered him, a prickling along the back of his neck. He couldn't name it yet. The doors slid open. Two officers stepped inside with the kind of swagger that announced trouble. Officer Trent Holloway's grin stretched cold and sharp as his gaze landed on Marcus. "There he is," Trent said. The caller said a tall black male in a security uniform was loitering suspiciously. Marcus blinked. "Loitering? In my own lobby?" Trent shrugged. "I just follow the calls." The second officer hovered behind him, uncomfortable but silent. Marcus steadied his voice. "This is private property. You can't just barge in because someone made a false claim." Trent smirked. "False? You sure about that? I'm the evening supervisor. I've been here for years." "Still just security," Trent muttered, stepping closer. "Let's not pretend this badge means authority." Marcus felt heat surge into his chest. "It means responsibility. And it means protecting this building from unauthorized entry." Trent chuckled. "From what? People like you?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "Officer, I'm asking you to provide documentation for your presence." "Oh, we've got documentation," Trent replied. "We got a description that matched you. Suspicious, uncooperative." Marcus cut in. "You made that up." Trent's laugh turned sharp. "You think I need to make anything up? I walk in, see a man in uniform, and I can already tell." "Tell what exactly?" Marcus asked. "That you don't belong where decisions happen." Silence rippled across the lobby. A few employees pretended to check their phones while watching. Trent tapped Marcus's badge. "This little thing. It's decorative." Marcus breathed deeply. "Please step back." "Or what? Or I'll file a report." Trent leaned in, voice low. "File whatever you want. No one reads those." Marcus met his eyes. "I will." The second officer shifted nervously. "Trent, maybe we should." "No," Trent snapped. "He needs to know his place." Marcus swallowed hard. His pulse hammered, but his words stayed controlled. My place is doing my job. Yours is following protocol. Trent jabbed a finger into Marcus's chest. My job is deciding what protocol matters. Marcus stepped back, not out of fear but restraint. This is harassment. Big word, Trent replied. Do you even know legal definitions? Enough, Marcus said firmly. You need to leave unless you have legitimate business. Trent scoffed. Legitimate? Let me tell you something, people like you are human, Marcus said. Trent laughed again. You, human? Man, you're just security. The words cut deeper than Marcus expected. Sharper because they echoed something he'd heard before, something rooted far beyond Trent himself. Marcus inhaled slowly, steadying the tremor in his hands. I'm asking you to step out of the lobby now. Trent's face hardened. His hand dropped to his holster, not drawing but hovering. A threat dressed as routine. Marcus's breath caught. The second officer whispered urgently. Trent, stop. Quiet, Trent hissed. Marcus stared at that hovering hand, feeling the decades of history behind gestures like it. You're escalating without cause, he said softly. Trent leaned closer. Cause? You exist. That's cause enough. A woman by the elevator gasped. Someone else turned away. Marcus exhaled slowly. Leave. Now. Trent's nostrils flared. You don't give me orders. I'm giving you a boundary. Oh, I'll show you a boundary, Trent snarled. A boundary between who matters and who doesn't. Marcus didn't look away. Everyone here matters. Trent scoffed. Keep telling yourself that. Finally, the second officer tugged his sleeve. Trent. Let's go. Reluctantly, Trent backed up. But his eyes locked on Marcus with vicious promise. This isn't over. Marcus didn't flinch. Good night, officers. They left the building. The automatic doors sighed shut behind them. Only then did Marcus feel his knees weaken. He walked behind the security desk, sat slowly, and opened the incident report form. His fingers hovered above the keyboard. He typed. Officer entered without authorization. Harassment. Racialized language. Escalation without cause. His hands trembled. He clenched them until the shaking stopped. He hit submit. But deep down he already knew the truth. No one reads these. Wait. Marcus arrived at the precinct the next morning with a copy of his neatly printed incident report tucked into a folder. He stood outside the internal affairs door for a full minute before pushing it open. The room had the stale, recycled smell of a place where fresh air rarely entered. Files stacked high, fluorescent lighting buzzing faintly. A woman behind the desk looked up. You're Lane, right? The security guard. Security supervisor, Marcus corrected gently. I'm here to file a formal complaint regarding Officer Trent Holloway. She offered a thin smile that didn't reach her eyes. Of course. Have a seat. Marcus sat across from IA Officer Delaney, who skimmed the report with a slow, almost lazy pace. Her expression didn't shift. Her pen tapped twice then stopped. You're alleging harassment, she said finally. Yes. And racialized language. Yes. She leaned back. Officer Holloway has a clean record. Marcus expected that line, but it still stung. That doesn't change what happened. Delaney sighed. The kind of sigh that said she had already decided the outcome. Look, Mr. Lane, sometimes things in the field get heated. Officers are trained to assert control when they perceive a threat. I wasn't a threat, Marcus replied. You raised your voice. No, Marcus cut in calmly. I didn't. Delaney paused, eyes narrowing just slightly. These things can be subjective. Then check the building's security footage, Marcus said. It'll show everything. We can request it, she replied, though her tone made it sound optional. But these processes take time. Marcus folded his hands. I'm willing to wait. I just want this documented properly. She clicked her pen again. Well, it's documented. Will there be follow-up? There may be. Her vagueness was deliberate. Marcus swallowed frustration. I've worked in that tower for 8 years. I've never had an issue with any officer before. Delaney smiled politely. Good. Then maybe this was just a misunderstanding. Marcus met her gaze. It wasn't. Her smile froze. The air grew stiff. After a moment she stood. We'll be in touch. Marcus rose slowly. Thank you for your time. He walked out feeling heavier than when he'd walked in. His supervisor, Mr. Evans, called him into the office as soon as Marcus returned to work. Evans rubbed his temples as though nursing a headache. Marcus, he said, why did I get a call from the precinct about a complaint you filed? Because you would have gotten one eventually, Marcus replied. I followed protocol. Evans sighed. Protocol is one thing, but we have relationships with the police department. Good ones. Necessary ones. They can't justify what Holloway did. Evans leaned forward. Marcus, think carefully. Officers have tough jobs. They don't need extra tension. Marcus felt heat rising in his chest. So I'm supposed to ignore what he did. I'm asking you to consider the bigger picture. These things blow over faster when we let them. Marcus shook his head. I won't be silent to make him comfortable. Evans's expression hardened. There's no need to get emotional. Marcus stared at him. Emotional? I'm being professional. I filed a report. And I'm telling you it might be better to withdraw it. Evans tapped a finger against the desk. For the sake of the tower. For the sake of your job. Marcus's throat tightened. Is my job being threatened? No, Evans said quickly. No. But cooperating makes life easier for everyone. Everyone except me. Evans didn't respond. Marcus nodded once, a sharp, controlled motion. Then I guess it won't be easy. He walked out without waiting for dismissal. Later that afternoon, while Marcus checked ID badges at the north entrance, the radio on his belt crackled. Marcus, you've got officers requesting entry, Jamal said. Marcus's stomach sank. Names. Holloway and someone else. Marcus turned toward the glass doors. Trent Holloway stepped inside grinning like he'd been waiting for this moment. Well, well, Trent said. Heard you filed a complaint. Marcus kept his posture rigid. I filed a report based on what happened. You really think that'll go anywhere? Trent laughed. Man, you must be dumber than you look. Officer Holloway, Marcus said evenly. If you're here for authorized business, state it. Oh, I'm here to remind you of something. Trent stepped in close. I don't forget disrespect. Marcus didn't blink. Neither do I. Trent scoffed. You think your report means anything? I could bury you in paperwork. Hell, I could have you removed from this building if I wanted. You can't. You sure? Trent smirked. Your boss already got a call. Marcus clenched his fists at his sides. You're abusing your authority. Trent leaned in until Marcus could smell the faint trace of mint gum. Authority's meant to be used. The second officer behind him stared at the floor, shame flickering in his eyes. Marcus exhaled slowly. State your business or leave. My business, Trent said, chest puffed, is making sure people like you don't forget your place. Marcus met his glare. My place is doing my job without being harassed. Trent tilted his head mockingly. You. Harassed. Please. You're just security. Marcus felt the words hit again, familiar and cutting. That doesn't make me less human. Trent huffed. Humanity's earned. Marcus shook his head. Not by your standards. A tense silence stretched between them. Finally the second officer whispered. Trent, let's go. You're making it worse. Trent snorted. This isn't over, Lane. Not even close. Then follow the law, Marcus replied. Trent's eyes flared with anger, but he turned and walked out. Marcus didn't move until the doors slid shut behind them. That night, he sat alone in the break room, staring at the vending machine's reflection. His hands were still, but the tremor lived somewhere deeper. In his ribs, in memory. He whispered to no one. No one reads these, right? But something inside him answered. This time they will. He just didn't know how yet. Marcus's shift the next evening began like any other. Steady, predictable, routine. He welcomed the familiar rhythm. It grounded him. The incident with Holloway still echoed in his thoughts, but he kept his movements measured, professional. He scanned badges, greeted tenants, supervised the rotation. But beneath the surface, a quiet tension stirred. At 7:42 p.m., that tension solidified into footsteps. Heavy ones, confident ones. The lobby doors slid open, and Officer Trent Holloway stepped through with another officer at his side. Trent wore the same smirk Marcus had come to recognize, one carved from entitlement and the thrill of unchecked power. Well, look who's on duty. Trent's voice carried across the open space. Still guarding the couches. Marcus didn't react. Officer Holloway. Are you here on official business? Trent tapped his radio. We got a report of a suspicious individual in the building. Marcus almost laughed. Let me guess. Black. Wearing security. Trent grinned. You said it, not me. Do you have an actual description? Yep. Trent theatrically pretended to read from an imaginary notepad. Male. Dark skin. Thinks he's important. Marcus exhaled through his nose. There's no suspicious activity in this building. I've conducted all rounds. You? Trent raised a brow. Oh, well then. If you say so. The second officer, Rivera, Marcus thought, shifted awkwardly. Trent, maybe we should verify with dispatch. We are dispatch, Trent snapped. We go where we're needed. And you think you're needed here? Marcus asked. Oh, I know I am. Trent stepped closer. See, I heard you've been running your mouth, filing complaints, making noise. I filed a factual report. You filed a mistake, Trent corrected. And I'm here to fix it. Marcus's jaw tightened. You're here to intimidate me. Intimidate? Trent's laugh was sharp. Man, nobody's intimidated by you. You're just security. The words sliced the space between them. A tenant entering the building paused mid-step, drawn by the escalating tension. A pair of interns near the elevators exchanged looks but said nothing. People always said nothing. Marcus lifted his chin. Stop calling me that. Trent blinked innocently. What? Security. That's what you are, isn't it? Not a cop. Not a supervisor worth listening to. Certainly not someone who gets to question me. Marcus felt something coil in his chest. Anger, yes, but something deeper. Fatigue. Weariness. The kind that came from years of brushing off comments like this because pushing back often made things worse. You're disrespecting my role, Marcus said quietly. I'm defining it. Trent smirked. And the role is simple. You open doors. You check IDs. You don't talk back. Rivera stepped forward gently. Trent, seriously, let's just confirm the report. Trent turned sharply. Do you want to handle this, Rivera? Rivera fell silent. Marcus folded his arms. If you want to search the building, you need authorization from management. Trent chuckled. Authorization? I don't need permission from a lobby decoration. A woman waiting for the elevator flinched. Marcus saw her eyes, wide, uncomfortable, darting between them. She reached for her phone subtly. Another man near the front desk angled his camera slightly. Good, Marcus thought. Witnesses. This is private property, he said. Respect the rules. Trent took a step forward. Their faces were inches apart now. I respect real authority. And this uniform isn't real enough for you. Nope. Because you didn't earn authority. You just dress like you have it. Marcus's voice dropped to a low, steady beat. You are harassing me. Again. Trent grinned. Harassing. Relax. If you want harassment, I can give you. Marcus leaned in. Stop. Trent blinked at the shift. Stop acting like my existence offends you, Marcus said quietly. It does, Trent replied instantly. Rivera inhaled sharply. Trent. But Trent wasn't done. Here's the truth, Trent said, voice rising. You're a nobody with a badge sticker. And I will not let a nobody embarrass me with some stupid complaint. Marcus didn't blink. I'm not embarrassed. You will be. Marcus held his gaze. No. You're the one who's afraid. Trent froze for a fraction of a second, just long enough for Marcus to see the crack beneath the arrogance. Then Trent barked a bitter laugh. Afraid. Of you? Yes, Marcus replied softly. Because you know you were wrong. And you know people saw it. Trent's eyes darted, just once, just enough, toward the interns filming with their phones. You delete that, Trent barked at them. Now. They didn't move. Marcus stepped slightly to the side. They're allowed to record in a public access lobby. This is police interference. This is accountability, Marcus countered. Trent's jaw flexed, rage twisting across his face. You think this matters? Those videos? Your report? Nothing sticks to me. Nothing. Marcus said nothing, letting the silence work. Trent stepped closer again. Say it. Say you'll withdraw the complaint. No. Say it. No. Trent breathed hard through his nose. Lane, you don't understand how this works. I decide who has power here. Marcus's voice came out calm, unshaken. Not tonight. The room felt heavier, thicker, as if the air itself waited for Trent's next move. Finally, Rivera gently pushed Trent's shoulder. Let's leave. Trent. Come on. Trent didn't move immediately. His eyes stayed locked on Marcus, cold, burning with humiliation. Then he spat out. You're going to regret this. Marcus replied. If standing up for myself has consequences, I'll face them. Trent stepped back, but he jabbed one last sentence into the air. You're just security. Nothing more. The words echoed across the marble floor. But this time they didn't fall into silence. Someone whispered, loud enough to be heard. That's not right. Small sentence. A tiny fracture in the usual apathy. Trent heard it and stiffened, his confidence faltering. Rivera tugged him again. Let's go. The officers exited the building. The automatic doors hissed shut. Marcus stood alone at the center of the lobby, heart pounding, chest tight, but standing. The interns lowered their phones. One of them approached cautiously. Mr. Lane. Do you want these videos? Marcus swallowed. Yes. Please send them. He didn't know it yet, not fully, not completely. But tonight the world had shifted. And so had the power. The next morning, Marcus woke to the familiar vibration of his phone on the nightstand. He reached for it with groggy fingers, expecting a message from his team or a shift adjustment. Instead, he found 12 new notifications. 12. His chest tightened. He opened the first message. It was a video, one of the intern's recordings from last night. Trent's voice echoed through the speakers. You're just security. The second video caught Rivera's anxious glance, the growing tension, the moment Trent barked at bystanders to delete their footage. The third video was clearer, sharper, angled from the far corner. It captured the entire confrontation in crisp, unbroken detail. Marcus sat up slowly. This wasn't just documentation. This was evidence. He exhaled deeply, rubbed his forehead and whispered, "Here we go." When Marcus arrived at Vantage Point Tower, he felt the shift in atmosphere immediately. People stared longer than usual. Conversations hushed as he passed. Even the front desk receptionist gave him a look of sympathy tinged with worry. Jamal was the first to approach him. "Marcus, man, did you see?" "I saw," Marcus replied. "They're everywhere. People shared them overnight. I think even someone in accounting uploaded one to an employee group chat." Marcus sighed. "That'll get shut down fast." "Too late," Jamal said. Corporate already sent an internal memo. Marcus stiffened. A memo? Yeah. You should read it. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened his inbox. Vantage Point personnel notice. Employees are reminded that sharing unauthorized footage involving law enforcement may violate company policy. All staff are expected to cooperate peacefully with officers. Do not engage in actions that may harm the company's relationship with local authorities. Marcus closed his eyes. There it was, the pattern. Protect the institution. Protect the police. Silence the victims. Blame the witnesses. Do whatever kept the corporate ecosystem safe and unchallenged. Jamal studied his face. You okay? Marcus opened his eyes slowly. No. But I'm here. An hour later, Marcus stood at the security desk when Rivera, the young officer from the night before, entered the lobby alone. Marcus stiffened. Rivera stopped several feet away, hands visible, posture cautious. Mr. Lane, can we talk? Marcus nodded warily. Go ahead. Rivera glanced around, voice lowering. I'm sorry. For last night. For the night before that. For all of it. Marcus studied him. You didn't stop him. I tried, Rivera said, guilt thick in his throat. But Trent, he outranks me. And around here he gets what he wants. Everyone knows that. Marcus crossed his arms. That doesn't make it right. I know. Rivera's shoulders slumped. Look, I'm not asking you to excuse anything. I need you to know he's done this before. Marcus's breath hitched subtly. Before. To who? To a delivery driver. To a janitor outside a hotel. To a teenager in a parking lot. None of it ever stuck. His uncle's a captain. That's why he always gets cleared. Marcus felt the truth settle heavy in his bones, confirmation of what he already suspected. Internal affairs isn't going to do anything, are they? Rivera shook his head slowly. Not unless something big forces their hand. Something big. Like videos. Like public pressure. Marcus inhaled deeply. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired, Rivera said quietly. Tired of being part of something that feels wrong. Tired of pretending Trent represents what a cop should be. Marcus's expression softened. Only slightly. You could file a statement. Rivera winced. And lose my badge. They'd bury me with paperwork until I quit. I understand, Marcus said. Fear keeps systems running. Rivera looked him in the eye. But the videos, they're spreading. People are talking. You might be able to do something with this. Marcus frowned. Do something. Rivera hesitated. You're not just some lobby supervisor, are you? Marcus tensed. What makes you say that? The way you talk, Rivera said. The way you handle him. I don't know. There's this confidence. Like you know more than your uniform shows. Marcus didn't answer. Rivera nodded slowly, confirming his suspicion. Whatever it is you're not saying. Maybe this is the time to use it. Marcus exhaled. I'll think about it. Rivera stepped back. For what it's worth. I hope you do. He left through the rotating doors. Marcus stood frozen, Rivera's words echoing inside him. This is the time to use it. He had spent years keeping his world divided, working shifts anonymously, participating in the ground-level operations of a company few people knew he owned. He never wanted attention. Never wanted spotlight. Never wanted to flex power just because he had it. But maybe silence was another form of complicity. Maybe humility was turning into harm. At noon, Marcus's phone buzzed again. A number he recognized instantly. A number he hadn't expected today. He answered quietly. This is Marcus. A crisp voice responded. Sir, we need you at headquarters. Marcus blinked. Now. Yes, sir. The board is requesting an emergency meeting. They've seen the footage. They're concerned. Marcus closed his eyes. Course they were. Understood, he said. I'm on my way. He grabbed his coat and headed toward the exit. Jamal called out. Everything good? Marcus paused at the revolving door. Not sure, he said honestly. But something's happening. You'll handle it, Jamal said with confidence. Marcus offered a faint smile. I hope so. Outside, the wind cut cold across his face. He walked toward his car, hands tightening into fists as the building loomed behind him. For years, he had kept one truth hidden. He wasn't just security. He was the founder and CEO of Lane Shield Security Solutions, one of the largest private security firms in the region. A firm with contracts larger than the precinct's budget. A firm with lawyers who didn't lose. A firm whose board didn't call emergency meetings unless the stakes were high. Marcus opened his car door slowly. Rivera's words returned again. This is the time to use it. Marcus slid into the driver's seat, heart steady, resolve building. Trent Holloway thought he knew Marcus Lane. He knew nothing. The system was cracking. And Marcus was finally ready to widen the fracture. The headquarters of Lane Shield Security Solutions stood 30 stories above the city. Glass exterior gleaming, logo etched into steel. Marcus always entered through the side garage when he visited, but today he walked through the front doors. Employees at the reception desk straightened the moment he appeared. Good afternoon, Mr. Lane, one said quickly. Marcus nodded. Is the board already assembled? Yes, sir. Conference room 1. Marcus took the elevator up. The mirrored walls reflected a version of himself he rarely looked at while in uniform. Shoulders squared, expression calm but resolute, presence unmistakably authoritative. He still felt the sting of last night in his chest. But something else had started to replace it. Purpose. The elevator chimed. He stepped into a quiet hallway lined with framed awards and contract plaques. He pushed open the glass doors to the boardroom. 7 people sat around the table. All looked tense. Marcus, Chairwoman Adeline Pierce said, standing. Thank you for coming quickly. Marcus took his seat at the head of the table. Let's begin. Adeline slid a tablet toward him. We've all seen the videos. Marcus nodded once. I assumed you had. Another board member, Harris, cleared his throat. This officer has harassed you before. Yes, Marcus said. And this precinct is one we've partnered with on multiple commercial accounts, Harris continued. This is serious. Marcus lifted his eyes. It's not just serious. It's systemic. Adeline leaned forward. What do you want to do, Marcus? We'll support you. But we need direction. Marcus exhaled slowly. The security division I supervise uses that tower as a stress test. I rotate through shifts because it keeps me connected to the ground. I didn't expect to be targeted. But now that it's happened, his voice steadied. We can't let this slide. Harris frowned. You're the CEO. We can push for an internal review from the department. Maybe even a meeting with the chief. Not enough, Marcus replied. Then what? Adeline asked. Marcus tapped the tablet showing Trent's face frozen mid-sneer. This officer has a pattern. If the videos reflect reality, and they do, then he's a danger. And the department has knowingly enabled it. A quiet murmur went around the room. Adeline folded her hands. Marcus, will coming forward compromise your privacy? You've always valued anonymity. It's time to stop hiding, Marcus said. If I stay quiet, I become part of the silence that protects men like him. Another board member, Sheila, spoke softly. Then we have to prepare a full legal response. Documentation, statements, media management. Yes, Marcus said. I want every inch of this handled professionally. No retaliation on our part. No theatrics. Just facts. Sheila nodded. Facts will be enough. Marcus swallowed. And I want to be involved personally. No spokesperson. No proxy. Adeline studied him. Are you sure? Marcus's voice dropped. I've been humiliated twice in my own workplace. And he thinks I'm powerless. That's what scares me. Not the harassment but the assumption behind it. The assumption that people like me don't have influence, don't have options, don't have recourse. Adeline inhaled slowly, visibly moved. Then we support you. Fully. Marcus nodded once. Thank you. Harris looked uneasy. The department may push back. They could claim provocation, or question your credibility. Marcus stared at him. They can try. Sheila tapped her pen. We should prep statements for your staff too. The tower employees who filmed him, they could be pressured. We'll protect them, Marcus said. No one should suffer for doing the right thing. Adeline opened a folder. There's something else. Anonymous blogs are already circulating the videos. It's only a matter of time before local journalists reach out. When they do, they'll want an on-the-record comment from Lane Shield. Marcus considered that. Then we give them one. Factual. No heat. Just what happened and why we're taking action. Harris frowned. And when the department realizes who you are, they'll scramble. Good, Marcus said. Let them scramble. Silence washed over the room. Heavy, decisive. Adeline broke it. Marcus, have to ask. Why didn't you tell anyone? Why keep working those shifts yourself? Marcus's gaze lowered. Because the higher I rose, the more distance grew between me and the people I wanted to protect. I used to be that guard pulling double shifts. That man trying to be invisible to stay safe. Working the floor kept me grounded. Reminded me why I built this company. Sheila softened. And now, Marcus said quietly, I know exactly why I'm needed. A quiet understanding settled among them. Adeline stood. The rest followed. Lane Shield stands with you. We'll execute a full legal inquiry. And we'll request a meeting with the chief immediately. Marcus rose too. I appreciate all of you. But remember, this isn't about revenge. This is about accountability. Of course, Harris said. Adeline touched his shoulder lightly. You're doing the right thing. Marcus nodded. I hope so. When the meeting ended, Marcus walked toward the elevator. His phone buzzed. An incoming call from an unknown number. He answered cautiously. Marcus Lane speaking. A gravelly voice responded. Mr. Lane. This is Police Chief Donovan. Marcus stopped walking. The chief continued. I've received several complaints this morning. About one of my officers. And about an incident involving you. Marcus said nothing. I'd like to meet, the chief said. Today, if possible. Marcus pressed his thumb into his palm, grounding himself. Yes, I'm available. Good, the chief replied. This needs to be addressed. There was an unusual tone in the chief's voice. Tight, strained. Marcus recognized it. Worry. Good, he thought. For the first time, someone on that side of the system was worried. He ended the call and entered the elevator. But before descending, he leaned back against the mirrored wall. His reflection stared back. Both the man in uniform and the man with power. Two identities he'd kept separate for years. Now merging. He whispered, This isn't just my fight. Because he finally understood something with painful clarity. If he didn't stand up now, Trent Holloway would do this to someone else. Someone without videos, without witnesses, without a boardroom behind them. And the system would swallow that person whole. Not today. Not anymore. Marcus stepped out of the elevator with a steady stride. Time to confront the institution. And time for the institution to learn. He was not just security. He was the man who built the shield. The police station felt different the moment Marcus walked in. Quieter, tighter, as if the walls themselves sensed something shifting. Officers glanced up from desks but quickly looked away. Few whispered. One rookie stepped aside. Spine stiffening with respect Marcus didn't expect. He walked toward Chief Donovan's office, escorted by a sergeant. Chief's waiting for you, the sergeant said, opening the door. Chief Donovan stood behind his desk, arms folded, jaw set. A man used to authority, but today that authority had dents. Mr. Lane, the chief said. Thank you for coming. Marcus stepped inside. Chief. The chief gestured to a chair. Please. Sit. Marcus remained standing for a beat, then sat slowly, controlled, grounded. The chief exhaled sharply. "I've reviewed the videos." Marcus nodded once. "Good. They're troubling," Donovan said. "Very troubling." "Troubling is one word," Marcus replied. "Unacceptable might be closer." The chief's eyes tightened, but he didn't argue. "I agree." He tapped a folder on his desk. "Officer Holloway claims you provoked him." Marcus lifted a brow. "Provoked him by existing." "That's not what he said." "That's what he meant," Marcus said calmly. "You heard the recordings." Donovan sighed. "I did. And I'm not here to defend him. But I need to understand what's happening beneath the surface." "What's happening," Marcus replied, "is a pattern of abuse that was ignored because it was inconvenient to address." The chief's jaw flexed. "You're suggesting negligence." "I'm stating it plainly." Donovan ran a hand across his forehead. "Holloway has connections. Powerful ones. His uncle." "I know," Marcus said. "Everyone knows. That complicates things." "No," Marcus corrected. "It enabled things." Silence froze the room. The chief leaned forward. "Mr. Lane, may I speak freely?" "You should." "I don't want this department to burn," Donovan said. "But if Holloway's behavior continues, he might light the match himself." Marcus's gaze softened, not with sympathy but with recognition. "Then put out the flame now." The chief nodded slowly. "That's why I called you. I need cooperation. Evidence. Statements." "I have everything you need," Marcus said. "Videos. Incident reports. Witnesses. And you're willing to testify." "Yes." Donovan swallowed. "This will be messy. Justice usually is." The chief looked at him, truly looked, and seemed to understand something that had eluded him until this moment. "You're not backing down," Donovan said. "No," Marcus replied. "I'm done shrinking to make him comfortable." Later that afternoon, Marcus met with Lane Shield's legal team in their downtown office. Files sprawled across the conference table. Footage stills, transcripts, witness summaries. Attorney Miriam Rhodes flipped through a folder. "Marcus, these videos are damning. Holloway's behavior isn't ambiguous. He escalated without provocation." "He's been doing it for years," Marcus said. "People just didn't have leverage to fight back." Miriam frowned. "Well, now someone does." Marcus nodded. "This isn't about revenge. It's about stopping him." Miriam smiled slightly. "And that's why we're going to win." Across the table, legal strategist Daniel Cho pointed at a printed timeline. "Chief Donovan is already under pressure. Public opinion is shifting. Once this hits the media, the department will need to act or face reputational damage." Marcus inhaled. "Release it responsibly. No sensationalism." "Of course," Daniel said. "Our statement will be factual, focused, professional." Miriam cleared her throat. "Marcus, one question. Are you prepared for Holloway to retaliate? Legally or otherwise?" Marcus paused. "He already is." "What do you mean?" Daniel asked. "He called my supervisor. Tried to intimidate me in the lobby. Threatened consequences." Miriam's expression hardened. "Good. That pattern strengthens the case." Marcus sighed. "I don't want to ruin his life. I want him removed before he ruins someone else's." "That's exactly what accountability looks like," Miriam said. Meanwhile, inside the precinct, chaos brewed. Officer Rivera sat at his desk when Trent stormed in, red-faced, breathing hard. "What the hell is happening?" Trent shouted. "Why did Internal Affairs call me in? Why is the chief requesting a formal statement?" Rivera didn't look up. "You know why." "No," Trent snapped. "I don't. And don't pretend this is about one complaint. Someone's feeding them information." Rivera stood slowly. "Trent, you crossed a line." "I cross whatever line I want." Trent barked. "I have protection." Rivera shook his head. Not anymore. Trent pointed a trembling finger at him. Ooh. Did you talk to Lane? Rivera didn't answer. Trent stepped closer, furious. I warned that man. I told him he'd regret messing with me. Rivera's voice rose, uncharacteristically firm. You're not untouchable, Trent. Trent froze, eyes flickering with something dangerously close to fear. The captain stepped out of his office. Holloway. My office. Now. Trent stiffened. Captain, Now. Trent followed reluctantly, slamming the door behind him. Rivera exhaled shakily. For the first time since joining the force, he felt the system tremble. Hours later, Marcus drove home with the city lights flickering across his windshield. His phone buzzed again, another unknown number. He answered. Marcus Lane. The voice on the other end was clipped, agitated. This is Captain Romer. We need to speak. About what? Marcus asked, though he already knew. About the investigation. About the videos. And about the pressure we're receiving. Marcus kept his tone measured. I'm available tomorrow morning. No, Romer said. Tonight. Marcus narrowed his eyes. Is that a request or a summons? Was. A request, Romer said reluctantly. Marcus nodded. Fine. Send the location. When he hung up, he stared ahead at the city skyline. The system wasn't collapsing suddenly. It was collapsing because someone finally stopped holding it up. He whispered, Let it fall. The mediation room inside the precinct was cramped, fluorescent lights humming, blinds half closed, tension thick enough to taste. A long metal table split the room in two. On one side sat Marcus, calm but alert, flanked by attorney Miriam Rhodes. On the other sat Officer Trent Holloway, fists clenched, jaw rigid, refusing to look anywhere but forward. Chief Donovan stood near the doorway, arms crossed, watching like a man bracing for a storm. The mediator cleared his throat. We're here to discuss the repeated complaints against Officer Holloway and review the evidence provided. Trent scoffed loudly. This is ridiculous. Miriam didn't blink. You're welcome to keep talking. Every word helps our case. Trent's glare snapped toward her. You think you're clever. I think you're reckless, she replied. The mediator lifted a hand. Let's proceed calmly. Mr. Lane, your statement. Marcus inhaled slowly, steadying himself. Officer Holloway entered my workplace twice without authorization. Both times he escalated with aggression, racially charged remarks, and threats of retaliation. That's a lie, Trent spat. Officer, the mediator warned. Marcus continued, voice even. Both incidents were captured on video. I didn't provoke him. I didn't escalate. I simply asked him to follow protocol. You challenged my authority, Trent snapped. No, Marcus replied. I challenged your misconduct. Trent slammed a hand on the table. You don't get to judge me. You're barely. He stopped himself, but the room understood the word he almost used. Miriam leaned forward. Barely what, Officer Holloway? Trent's lips tightened. The mediator sighed. Officer Holloway, you will have your turn. For now, let's review the evidence. He pressed a button. The first video began playing on a wall-mounted screen. Trent's voice filled the room. You're just security. Everyone watched the footage in silence. Trent's dismissive tone, his aggressive posture, his attempts to intimidate bystanders. It all played back with uncomfortable clarity. When the video ended, Marcus looked at him. Do you still claim I provoked you? Trent barked an ugly laugh. You think this matters? A couple of shaky phone videos from interns. Please. But then video 2 began. Clearer. Closer. Impossible to dismiss. Trent's expression changed. Only by a flicker, but enough to expose fear beneath the bravado. When the screen went dark, Miriam spoke. Officer Holloway, would you like to explain your behavior? Trent folded his arms. I don't answer to him. To you. I answer to the precinct. Chief Donovan stepped forward. Not anymore, Holloway. That got Trent's attention. What's that supposed to mean? He demanded. It means your actions have consequences, Donovan said. And we're done looking the other way. Trent turned red. You're siding with him. A civilian. A security guard. Marcus didn't raise his voice. You keep calling me just security. Why is that? Because it's what you are. Trent snapped. Not a cop. Not a threat. Not someone who should be reporting me. Miriam nodded at Marcus. Marcus spoke softly. Then allow me to clarify something. He opened the folder in front of him and slid a document across the table. Trent frowned. What's this supposed to be? Miriam answered. Corporate registration, ownership verification, financial summaries, and contract listings. Trent blinked. Why would I care about? Then his eyes landed on the header. Lane Shield Security Solutions. Corporate ownership. Marcus Theodore Lane, founder and CEO. The color drained from his face. No, Trent whispered. No, that's not. Marcus met his eyes. I own the firm. The entire firm. The one whose staff you harassed. The one whose clients include half the buildings in this district. Trent's voice cracked. You're lying. Miriam slid another document across the table. This is the contract between Lane Shield and your precinct for external facility coordination. Signed last year. Trent looked at it, looked at Marcus, looked back at the contract. He sagged into his chair. You're the owner, he croaked. Yes, Marcus said quietly. Trent's breath came in quick bursts. Why were you working in the lobby? Why wear the uniform? Because leadership means understanding the field, Marcus replied. Because I value every employee. Because I believe in humility. Trent's eyes widened, trembling. His arrogance cracked like thin ice. This is a setup. You tricked me. Marcus shook his head. I didn't trick you. I simply didn't hide who I am. You assumed I was beneath you. Trent shot to his feet. Chief, you can't let them. Chief Donovan's voice sliced through the room. Sit down, Holloway. Trent froze. You embarrassed this department, Donovan said. You endangered civilians. You misused emergency calls. And now you expect us to defend you. Trent stammered. My uncle won't save you, Donovan said. Not this time. The mediator cleared his throat. Given the evidence and Officer Holloway's conduct in this session, I'm recommending immediate suspension pending termination review. Trent's mouth fell open. Suspension. Termination. For him. For your actions, the mediator corrected. Trent turned toward Marcus, voice trembling with rage. You ruined my career. Marcus's eyes softened, not with pity but with truth. You did that yourself. A long, heavy silence consumed the room. Trent sank slowly into his chair, staring blankly at the table. Marcus inhaled deeply, feeling neither triumph nor relief, only exhaustion. Miriam touched his arm gently. You did well. Marcus whispered. Did I? Absolutely, she replied. You held him accountable. Marcus looked at Trent, who now looked small, fragile even, stripped of the power he had wielded so recklessly. Poetic justice wasn't a victory. It wasn't revenge. It was simply the truth catching up to someone who thought it never would. And the truth had arrived. For the first time in weeks, Marcus woke to silence. No vibrating phone. No urgent alerts. No unexpected calls from the precinct. Just stillness. He sat on the edge of his bed, rubbing the tension from his temples. Victory, if that's what this was, felt nothing like celebration. It felt like a bruise. Dark, tender, throbbing beneath the surface. His phone buzzed at last. A message from Miriam. Holloway suspended. Department has initiated termination review. Press statement going out at noon. Marcus exhaled, slow and long. He should have felt relief. Instead, he felt something close to grief. Grief for the pain he had carried. Grief for the years he spent shrinking himself to avoid conflict, grief for the countless others who never reached this moment. He whispered, "It shouldn't take this much to be treated like a human." At Lane Shield headquarters, the air buzzed with an energy Marcus couldn't quite name, admiration mixed with concern. Employees paused to greet him, offering soft nods or quiet acknowledgments. "You did the right thing, sir. Proud of you." About time someone stood up. Each comment landed gently, but Marcus felt the weight behind every word. He had become an unwilling symbol now, a reminder of a system too often built to break people who looked like him. Adeline met him outside the conference room. "Marcus," she said softly, "how are you holding up?" He gave a small, tired smile. "I'm functioning. That's not the same as being okay." "No," he admitted. "It isn't." She hesitated. "You didn't sleep, did you?" "Not much." Adeline nodded, compassion warming her eyes. "The press wants a quote. You don't have to speak personally. We can release something on your behalf." Marcus took a breath. "No. I should speak." "Are you sure? I don't want this story twisted into something it's not. This isn't about revenge, or ego, or embarrassing a police officer. It's about accountability." Adeline touched his elbow. "Then we'll make sure your voice is heard clearly." By noon, the press gathered outside Lane Shield's headquarters. Cameras crowded the sidewalk. Reporters murmured, preparing their questions. Marcus stepped out with Miriam at his side. A reporter called immediately. "Mr. Lane, why didn't you disclose your identity earlier? Were you trying to trick Officer Holloway?" "No," Marcus replied. "I wore the uniform because I believe leadership means understanding every level of a company. I wasn't hiding. I was working." Another reporter shouted, "What do you hope comes from Holloway's suspension?" Marcus paused, long enough for silence to settle over the crowd. "I hope," he said carefully, "that this becomes a moment of reflection for the department. I hope they see the harm caused when misconduct is ignored. And I hope the officers who want to do better feel supported in doing so." A third reporter asked, "Do you see this as justice?" Marcus looked down, then met their eyes again. "Justice is bigger than one man losing his badge," he said. "This isn't justice. This is accountability. Starting point. Nothing more." He stepped back, signaling the end of questions. Miriam whispered, "You handled that perfectly." Marcus sighed. "It still doesn't feel like enough." "It rarely does." That evening, the city buzzed with the news. Social media filled with comments, debates, arguments, support, outrage. People analyzed every frame of the videos. Some called Marcus a hero. Others questioned his motives. But the voices that affected him most came from unexpected places. A janitor emailed him. "Thank you. I've been in his shoes. You spoke for more than just yourself." A mother wrote, "My son wants to work security one day. You showed him dignity." An elderly man messaged, "I had a Holloway in my neighborhood for 40 years. Wish someone like you had been around back then." Marcus read every message. Some made him smile. Others made him ache. Then came an unexpected one, from Officer Rivera. "Sir, Holloway was removed from active duty today. I don't know what happens next, but I wanted you to know. Your courage is making it safer for all of us. Not just civilians but officers too. Thank you." Marcus sat back surprised. A single tear slipped down before he wiped it away quickly. Rivera's message felt like a bridge. Fragile, hopeful, important. At sunset, Marcus returned to Vantage Point Tower. He stood in the same lobby where everything began. The marble floors glowed under warm lighting. People moved through the space with ease, unaware of the storm that had swept through it. Jamal spotted him. "Marcus. Man, how are you?" "Tired," Marcus said honestly. Jamal nodded. "You look it. But I'm proud of you." Marcus chuckled softly. "Thanks." Jamal's expression softened. "You think we'll ever get a world where men like him don't see men like us as threats?" Marcus looked around the lobby. The revolving doors, the security desk, the place where he had once stood feeling small beneath someone else's arrogance. "I don't know," he said. "But we can get closer. One fight at a time." Jamal smiled faintly. "Then maybe it's worth it." "Maybe it is," Marcus murmured. A new trainee approached, a young woman with bright eyes and nervous posture. "Sir, I'm supposed to shadow tonight." Marcus nodded. "Welcome. First day." "Yes," she said. "I'm excited, but I want to do it right." He gestured around the lobby. "This job isn't about standing guard. It's about seeing people, protecting them, treating everyone with dignity, even when they don't offer it back." She nodded earnestly. "I'll remember that." Marcus smiled at her. His voice was soft but firm, anchored in everything he had endured, everything he had reclaimed. "Respect isn't about rank," he said. "It's about humanity." The trainee smiled. And Marcus, finally, felt something like peace. Not justice. Not closure. Peace. Beginning.